Saying ain't the sixth song. The hook is stuck in my head. Hi. Hello. Swell. Hope you're wavy. What the hell was that? Yesterday I made this song. It's called Great Things. Great Things. It's called Great Things. And the hook goes like, I've been made for great things. I've been made for I've been made for great things. I've been made for. That's like the hook verbatim. And I was rapping on. Oh my god, I was rapping. My bars were lit. Bro, each day is a challenge. I'm doing a song a day challenge with the goal to drop a song a day until the end of the year. I drop 7 songs every Friday. 7 songs. So link in description. If you want to check that out. Link in description. If you want to check that out. Each day is a challenge, man. It's not easy because you have to make a new song every day, a new song. So it's like you just kind of have faith that you're gonna come up with the ideas. Because I remember like yesterday when I'm making a song, when I made the beat, right, and it was time to write the verse, and I was like, how do I do this every day? Because I was thinking, okay, I came up with the flow in my head, right, which by itself it's a miracle. Like these ideas just keep coming, right? But then it's like, okay, like I have to come up with lyrics now. I have to write a verse, and I can see that this verse is going to be long because of the beat structure. And I was like, the fact that I do this at all is crazy to me, because I couldn't see how I was gonna come up with the lyric. I didn't know what I was gonna write, but I just had faith that I was going to write something. And you know, I did. You start, and eventually the verse builds, and then you have a full verse, and it's coherent and it makes sense, and you're like, every day. And I was thinking, like, even if nothing much, obviously I'm praying. God, please. You also should pray for me, right? Pray for me. I'm praying that something comes out of this, that I can do this for a living, and I can travel and do shows. That would just be wonderful, right? But even if that weren't to happen, just I can look back at this time in my life and say this was a crazy year. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I do know God. I pray a lot, and I think he hears me and he blesses me. But yeah, it's a crazy period in my life, man. But I don't know if it's just a period. I think I can do this again. I think I could do this again. It doesn't feel like a one and done thing, you know. It doesn't feel like, oh, I got a finite amount of ideas and then this year I'm just gonna exhaust them and then I can't do it again afterwards. Like, it's not what it feels like. It feels like I can just keep going. That doesn't make it less challenging though, I think. especially like as I build and accrue more responsibility, the idea of making a song every day will get more difficult, but more the act of making a song a day will become more difficult. But it's whatever, man. It's whatever. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be making music, and I'm proud of the music I'm making. I've been watching Attack on Titan. Just binging, dude. I think I've binged 2 seasons so far in like 2 days, maybe 3. I'm halfway through season 3 now. Halfway? I don't know if halfway through, but I've made some significant progress through. Progress. We say progress? Progress? Anyway. Yeah, I'm halfway through season 3. It's a crazy show. I'll be honest. I like it when shows keep their concepts simple. Yeah, let me not talk. I don't know. I just feel like, look, with Attack on Titan, the mystery of behind the Titans made them like more scary. But when you start to, I'm not gonna reveal for anyone that wants to watch the show. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but at least nothing significant. But when you start learning certain details, you're like, okay, they're not so terrifying anymore. Maybe I'll learn something because I'm still in season 3. Maybe like I'm at the halfway point of season 3. Maybe as I progress, like certain revelations will come forth that just flip everything on its head and makes it even more crazy. But so far I'm like, yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the reveals they made of the origins of the Titans and so on and so forth. You know, with Naruto, that was the issue. My issue with Naruto. Their ideas got too crazy. It left the realm of ninja and they started saying ninjutsu came from aliens and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, this is terrible. This is not good writing. It was perfect the way it was. You don't have to explain ninjutsu. It's okay. Like, there's ninjas and they have magic powers. Leave it there. You don't have to say it came from aliens, because it just ruins the vibes, you know? There's a mystery there that just makes everything more enjoyable. But when you start saying like these outlandish things, there's an alien race and they go around eating planets and whatnot, oh god, it stops feeling like Naruto and it starts feeling like some sci-fi nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I love sci-fi, but sci-fi. This wasn't sci-fi. That was. If you would say what's Naruto and you said sci-fi, I'd be like, no. But then they make the reveal that, oh, this is sci-fi now. I was disappointed with that twist. It's less cool, you know, when you're like, oh, like all these ninjas are using alien powers now. It's as opposed to like ninjutsu, a mystical East Asian art form of martial arts, you know, whatever the case may be. It's less cool when you say, oh, it's just aliens. Like, why? Hold on, this is a bunch of... even One Piece, they haven't done anything crazy with One Piece yet, and I hope they don't. But I could imagine with the devil fruits, them being like, this is the origins of the devil fruits. And then they start coming with these crazy origin stories that are just so outlandish. And just take the series in an entirely different direction. It's the morning, so a lot of people are moving around and there's noise. But anyway, I can imagine imagine them doing that. Something stupid like, guys, you don't have to explain. Not everything needs some in-depth explanation. It's okay to just be like, that is just there, and we don't question it, and it's okay because the mystery makes it fun. You know, with my story, I'm trying hard to avoid that sort of storytelling. Just the incessant need to explain everything and create these grand schemes and plots. Obviously, there's a lot of plotting and scheming in my story, and it's a book about pirates, but there's a lot of drama and there's magic and there's all sorts of stuff going on, so it is complicated, but I think there's good complicated, and then there's like, this doesn't make sense complicated, you know what I'm saying? There's a sort of complicated that challenges you and forces you to think, and then when you think, you have revelation, and then you appreciate the story even more because you had to work to understand certain details. There's good complicated, and then there's bad complicated, because no matter how you slice it, it just doesn't make sense. No matter which angle you look at it from, you're like, yeah. And maybe it does make sense, but you're not really satisfied with the conclusion you arrive at, you know. But with Naruto, I just was not satisfied with this whole alien nonsense. It's Naruto, we don't need aliens in Naruto. It was just cool with ninjas. You had ninjas. What more do you need? When you have ninjas, you don't need anything else. My god, like, Madara should have been the villain, period. You didn't need Kaguya. Kaguya is nothing compared to Madara. She's so boring and dry and... Ugh, I can't believe they did Madara like that, dude. They just got rid of him. So Kaguya is the villain. She's the one who's been... If you haven't watched Naruto, spoiler alert, but she's the one who's been behind Madara, puppeting him and yada yada yada. I'm like, this is terrible. And she's an alien. I'm like, this is terrible. This is terrible. Like, how many years did people invest into Naruto for this? For this twist? Naruto's my favorite anime, by the way. I'm not a Naruto hater. It's my favorite anime. It's got so many beautiful moments. I just was not a fan of that twist, man. That twist was horrible. Madara was such a great villain. I didn't like how he became the Sage of Six Paths, essentially, and they had to fight him in that. I just wish they just stuck to his original character, and with the infinite Tsukiyomi, they could have kept that going. That was an interesting idea, but just keep it there. He's a crazy ninja who's trying to hypnotize the world, and let's deal with him. And then they started incorporating aliens and this and that. And I was seeing that carried on into Boruto. Boruto's cool, I guess, but it's nowhere near the brilliance of Naruto and early Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden was cool up until the alien reveal. And even with the alien stuff, there's still a cool moments. Boruto is just a mess. I read the manga, the Boruto manga. It's cool. I like it. It doesn't compare to Naruto, man. Like, ninjas are just not cool anymore in Naruto. In Boruto, they're just not cool anymore. They've ruined the power scale. Like, ninjas are useless because there's no one that can stand up to these aliens. The Otsuki. This is a terrible decision, and you should have kept it grounded. Like, they kept the threats human. I feel like the whole alien thing works in Star Wars, Star Trek, and so on and so forth. Games like Mass Effect, like it works there because it makes sense. Sci-fi, space, yada yada. When aliens are your central theme, and you start with that, and you build around it, it works. But when it's like, okay, this is a story about ninjas doing cool ninja shit, going on missions, stealth, kunais, like hand-to-hand combat, and then we're gonna throw aliens into that. Oh, it doesn't work. Those two things, like, it doesn't work. It's because the vibes are too different. Like, I'm not saying you can't merge aliens and ninjas, but the way they did it didn't work because, again, they started with ninjas, and for years, that's the premise that the entire story was built on. And then towards the end, they reveal, oh, by the way, it's all aliens. It felt like, you know what it felt like? It felt like they just tacked it on towards the end. Maybe Kishimoto had always intended for the big reveal to be aliens. But to me, it felt like he just kind of came up with it towards the end. I mean, obviously not. At some point, when the story had already been very developed, I think that's when he inserted that twist in. It had to have been far before the actual end when he came up with this idea, right? He probably saw it, but I think he saw it when much of the story had already been written. That's my estimation, because that's what it feels like. It didn't feel like he planned this from the beginning. It just felt so tacked on. It felt rushed. It felt half-baked. It just doesn't work. That's my opinion. Maybe someone else is loving it, the Otsutsuki stuff. For me, I was like, this ruined it. Aliens? They had such a great thing going with the ninjas, man. I don't know why they felt the need to. Anyway, I'm beating on a dead horse. So with Attack on Titan, while it's not as egregious as what they did with Naruto, I just feel like I'm seeing it going in a similar direction. As they try to explain the origins of the Titans, it's getting more and more outlandish, the concepts they're coming up with. It's very high scale, like supernatural stuff. I wouldn't say supernatural, but it's just, you know, like, they're really stretching their imagination is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know how to put it. Words are my thing, so I should be able to phrase it correctly. The concept is starting to exceed the boundaries in which they've placed their story. I think that's a nice way of conceptualizing it. You establish these parameters for your story. This is our story, and then the more they develop the concept, it starts to kind of fall out of that, like bubble over. Luckily I have a cup here. So you have a cup, and these are the parameters you set for your story. Now, this is how you structured it, and then the concept starts to like leak out. It starts to become more than what the story was supposed to be, and it starts to feel like it doesn't fit, and it's awkward and it's weird, and it's like, it just feels outlandish, you know, out of place. It feels out of place. That's a nice way. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. The concepts they're starting to toy with feel out of place within the context of the story they were telling. initially. Like the vibe is starting to change. That sense of terror you had towards the Titan, it lessens because now you understand so much about them, and what you understand makes them less intimidating when you know what they are and how they came about. You're like, you have to keep the mystery intact, man. The mystery is such a key part of what makes something scary. So you don't want to reveal too much. Leave some things up to interpretation, you know. So these are lessons I'm learning, and as I'm writing my own story, I want to remember that. I'm not saying I'm gonna get it perfect, but I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to write an excellent story that avoids a lot of these mistakes. Writing is hard, man. There's very few people that get it right. Very few writers can write a full-length story and execute it like extremely well. I don't know if there's such a thing as a perfect story, but you know, someone can get like 95%. If we were to rate stories and score stories, just beginning to end, they just hit the mark, hit every mark, and they hit it correctly. And the story is very cohesive and just a very consistent and strong through line. You know, the theme is consistent. They stay true to the theme. The characters are consistent. The world is consistent. The overall mood is consistent. It's hard to do, man. That being said, Attack on Titan is still a great show. And I'm looking forward to finishing it. I'm very happy that I started watching it as it's ending. I think the last episode is coming out November 3rd. So I picked the perfect time to start watching it again. Because I'd begun watching it like in high school, and I just where I was at in life. I was young, and there were other people in my school who were watching Attack on Titan, and they loved it. For whatever reason, I was just like, this show is whack, and I just didn't watch it. You know what my thing was? One of my things, it was one issue I had amongst several at the time. I didn't understand. I just wasn't at the place to appreciate the show. But at the time, my issue was like, where are all the black people? I was big on race back then. Everything was viewed through the lens of race at that time. So my question is, where are all the black people? Because clearly this is, like they said themselves, like there was a concept of different world regions, the East, the West. Mikasa is Oriental, so Asian, so on and so forth. So my question was, where are all the black people? And there were none. The answer to the question is there are none. In this, the Titans ate them all, or I don't know. I don't know where all the. It's just white people in this show, but you know, it is what it is, man. It's not that big of a deal. That's the conclusion I've arrived to. Is like, it's not that big of a deal. But back then it was a big deal for me, so I just, that wasn't the main reason I stopped watching it. There were other things. I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't enjoying it as much as other people were at the time. Now my mind is very different now, and I just noticed things, and it's a brilliant show. It's got a lot of good things going for it. I'm glad I didn't force myself to watch it back then out of FOMO, like, because you can do that, you know. You can watch something just so you can have something to talk to your friends about and so on and so forth. I was like, fuck, I don't enjoy the show, I'm not watching it. I'm glad I didn't, because then I wouldn't have appreciated it. Now I'm at a point where I can appreciate it. I'm still critical of it, but I can also recognize its merits. Maybe they'll... This is just a guess. They haven't revealed this in the series, but maybe with the question of race, maybe what they'll end up doing is revealing that the world is much bigger than we realized, and there's this continent here and this continent here, and then people are living their life there, and people are living their life there, and we've had this unique problem of titans by ourselves in this little pocket of the world, but no one else around the world has been experiencing that. And yeah, I can see them doing that, and that will explain the racial thing, like where are all the other races of humans. With my story, I'm trying to create a story that race isn't a focus at all. Like, I never mention race when I'm writing, but no, I never discuss race, but I'll mention a character's race in terms of like the shade of their skin and whatnot, but that's as far as I'll go, because race isn't, yeah, it's not a defining characteristic, right? But at least, well, not one that's relevant in terms of when you're talking about someone's personality and so on and so forth. But in my store, I do have people of different race groups, just because I think it's interesting when it's done right. I do think sometimes people, the mistake a lot of these woke types make when they're writing their stories is they'll shoehorn in a character of a specific race to meet quotas and diversity for the sake of diversity. But for me, it's more so the thing of like, I just think it's cool that people of different groups and cultures can come together and coexist, and I just think it's interesting to see, like, okay, you got this Arab person, you've got this white person, you got a black person here, and even amongst those groups there's variation, and you can explore that, man. So now you got people with different types of names. You got African names, you got European names, you got Asian, like East Asian names, and so on and so forth. I think it's definitely interesting, but it's not something that I try to draw attention to, like, look at the race of the characters. It's just, these are characters, and what you fall in love with is their personality, not their race. I think what they try to do in these other stories is they try to make the race the most preeminent thing about the character, and that's why they flop, because the actual characters are boring and uninteresting. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to write sick characters. Even when I include women in my story, I'm not trying to include women just to say I have women in my stories. I'm actually trying to write good characters. So if you like my female characters, you actually like them. They're not just there to fill up space. Look at me, you have a woman in my stories. No, that's not what that is. We'll see. I'm making slow progress, but I'm progressing. Hopefully it'll be, I don't know when it's going to be done, to be honest. I'm not even going to put a date on it, but I'm approaching the halfway point. My goal is 90,000 words. My goal used to be 40,000, but yeah, I realize I'm going to need more words than that. So around 90,000 I'll stop. But I am approaching the climax. I can see the end. there's certain characters I need to kill off and events that need to happen, and I'm ticking those boxes, and I'm getting towards the end. And there's a big confrontation that needs to happen, and I'm gradually approaching that confrontation. So when I reach that, I'll know I'll be done. And I think that will be around 90,000 words. Anyway, I've done enough. I like to pray at the end of all my videos. I like to pray at the end of all my videos, just to impart blessing and peace and all that good stuff. So, dear God, thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them all unique. Thank you that you're guiding them on a good path towards peace, towards prosperity. Thank you that you bless them with great people in their life who take care of them and love them and push them to be the best version of themselves. Thank you that you're also maintaining the people that are there. You're introducing new people and you're maintaining the ones that are there. So, good health, long life, and happiness over this person, all the people they care about. In my name, I pray. In Jesus' name, I pray. Oh, also bless this person. Gratitude.